The mathacademy.net welcomes you to the simplicity of infection math. Part 1 was about the 2 infection formulas, exemplified with data from Denmark in 2020. Part 2 will be about the Danish lockdown. In Part 1 we saw that, using reliable hospitalization data, the message of the 2 infection formulas was: with a doubling factor 1.5 we reach herd immunity in mid-April, needing less than 800 respirators. With a doubling factor 1.2 we reach herd immunity in mid-May, needing less than 400 respirators. Both respirator numbers are below the capacity at 1,000 respirators. Therefore, to avoid Italian after-skiing numbers, we maintain normal hygiene. And we balance meetings in space and time, by keeping the person times hour area below 100 for the next 3 months. But the government used unreliable data, the infected, instead of reliable data about the hospitalized. Also, the government neglected the 2 infection formulas. The government said, 2 days ago, we had 35 infected. Now we have 514. It is more than a 10 doubling. This must stop. But, in the same period, the reliable numbers of hospitalized had doubled only 2.3 times, from 19 to 44. The government also said, we must avoid the Italian situation. But, the Italian situation was created by after-skiing, with extreme doublings of dirt and crowding and time, which could never be the case in Denmark, having no skiing season. And, the government also used unreliable data to compare Denmark with the rest of Europe. The government said, our numbers have increased in recent days in such a way that Denmark now occupies the place in Europe where we have seen the most dramatic increase in the number of new people infected. We must avoid what we have seen in the Italian health service, and that is so serious. We have a health crisis in Denmark. Then 2 curves were presented, a green and a red breaking through the capacity line. The government said, now I want to show these 2 graphs. The red scenario shows a steep increase in the infection. If this steep increase is to continue, it will break through the normal capacity of the health service. It is absolutely essential that we push the infection, so that we get into the green scenario. Instead of using the 2 simple infection fact formulas, The Danish Serum Institute probably has used complicated mathematical fiction models to find the two curves, which apparently are known and copied worldwide. Therefore, the government message was clear. Avoid the red curve crossing the capacity line. But the graph has no numbers on the axis. It does not specify if incidents mean reliable hospitalization or unreliable infection data. And it places the capacity line too low, because the two infection formulas say the capacity line is above all curves. The Danish Health Authority said, "We are very concerned about the very rapid increase in the number of infected people we are seeing in Denmark. How the development will be in Denmark, whether it becomes an Italian model, that cannot be predicted in itself. But why does the Danish Health Authority talk about unreliable infection data, and silence reliable hospitalization data? And why silence the three-factor formula predicting that only after skiing can produce the extreme doubling of the three infection factors?" The Danish press said, "It is a very, very explosive increase we are seeing right now. The numbers are reported every half day, and they have increased dramatically each time. But why does the press not question the reliability of infection numbers, and instead refer to the hospitalization numbers available at the Danish Health Authority's website?" The opposition leader in Parliament said the 14th of May. "What especially motivated locking down so resolutely, and thank you for that, Prime Minister, were the pictures we could see from Italy. And so, it was the right thing to do, because everything else would have been irresponsible. But why silence the three-factor formula saying that only after skiing in Italy can produce the extreme doubling of the three infection factors? And why not question the reliability of the infection numbers used to lock down?" The authority published 5 advices for minimizing infection. 1. Stay at home, and minimize social activity. 2. Wash your hands often and use alcohol. 3. Keep a distance to other people. 4. Sneeze and cough in your armpit, not in your hands. 5. Points of contacts in your home and at work must be cleaned daily. But there is no mention of the three-factor infection formula, R is D times C times T. And the dirt factor D is mentioned in 2, and 4, and 5. And the crowd factor C is mentioned in 1 and 3. But does not 1 imply 3? And the time factor T is not mentioned at all. Nor is balancing. Conclusion: The Danish government based its 2020 lockdown on 5 things. It used unreliable data from infected, not reliable data from hospitalized. It neglected the 2 infection formulas saying, balance, do not lock down. It scared the population with the Italian after-ski virus greenhouses, even if they could never occur in Denmark, according to the 3-factor formula. It scared the parliament to pass a state of emergency. It silenced time as an infection factor. As a consequence, there never was a Danish corona crisis. Instead, there was a corona scandal that created a financial crisis that will cost at least €30 billion in 2020. A fictitious press conference. Welcome. Please pose your questions. What is the moral of the 2020 Danish corona scandal? Locking down means preserving the virus. How can we get rid of the virus in the present situation? How to avoid the next infection scandal? Where can we read about and try out the 2 infection formulas? The moral of the 2020 Danish corona scandal. In a globalized world, a nation cannot afford that its politicians, its population, and its education is unenlightened. Democracy only works with politics based on the party's own knowledge tanks, and with dosage, 40 plus 30 plus 20 plus 10% for liberals, socialists, social liberals, and independents not voting. Education must have 3 prime goals: to develop the learner's word and number languages, to enlighten children about their outside world, to enlighten teenagers about their inside talents. When teaching number language, its grammar, mathematics, must submit to its fact and fiction calculations, using flexible bundle numbers to raise area questions as 2 3s and 4 5s total what? Locking down means preserving the virus. How to get rid of the virus in the present situation? Go back to the start. Open up everything until the reproduction number is back to 2.5. Send primary, secondary, and tertiary students to Sweden to be infected. Practice mega crowds in September in education and in sport. Once the reproduction number is back to 2.5, start balancing meetings in space and time by fixing the person times hours area. Start maintaining standard hygiene by using soap, but no alcohol. Ask seniors to be careful for 3 months until herd immunity is reached. How to avoid the next infection scandal? Simply fix the person times hours area. Avoid many persons and many hours in hot spots. Avoid hot spots in mega crowds. Accept few persons and many hours in soft hot spots. Accept many persons and few hours in hot soft spots. Simply balance. Do not exceed, do not lock down. And transfer the Serum Institute to a university. Where to read about the 2 infection formulas. Where to try out the 2 infection formulas. Go to the mathacademy.net website. The mathacademy.net thanks you for watching the 2 infection formula video. Please remember, to end an infection, observe standard hygiene. Do not exceed, do not lock down. Simply balance meetings in space and time. Simply fix and squeeze the person times hours area.